feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm so happy to have you. If you're my previous subscribers, welcome back. So for today's video, this is an update on the July 2022 midterm election. I want to see what party is going to take control of the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives come this November 2020. So we've already been doing this for about a year and a half now. So we have a lot of data. If you are just new and you are following now, I'm going to pull this up on the screen right now so you kind of see what we're talking about here. On your screen, we have actual data. This is the popular vote and who was leading in the popular vote, the Republicans and the Democrats. We also have here United States Senate results here. In the past, we had in May, we had the Democrats winning, and the same thing with June. In terms of the House, though, we did have the Republicans winning. It seemed to be that Joe Biden did indeed pull a Jimmy Carter. I did mention that back in August, that that Joe Biden pulling out of Afghanistan wasn't the best move, particularly because ever since that moment in September, it's been Republican House. And so that is very important here and very key to really understanding the nation's energy and how we're constantly chipped in. Now, nothing is predetermined. Basically, how I read in today's video, just I've kind of asked the spirit guide, if the election was held today, how would people vote today? And what we're going to do is eventually, after all the data is capitulated, I'm going to divide it out evenly by based on however many we have for the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm going to average it, and that will be the total expected overall result for November 2022. So it'll be really interesting to see the energy. Now, if something occurs, let's say in the month of July, we will not see the long-term effect of that shown up in the tarot cards until 30 days after that event had occurred. So if you may have remembered, we had Roe versus Wade, the leak back in May, but we didn't see that effect until June. And for June, we had the overturning of Roe versus Wade. So in this reading in particular, we're going to see how Roe versus Wade affects the 2022 midterm, if even at all affects it. So we're going to take a look at today's reading and see what holds for the party in power, which is the Democrats, versus the opposition party, the Republicans. Okay, this video being recorded on July 31st, 2022 at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yes, I will be showing proof here. It is indeed 12:03 a.m. in the morning here. And we do have here some Google report on Google News. So in case you want to kind of take a look at that on your own time, you can see that this is posted a day after. This is being done the day after that article has been released. So anyway, besides the point, there are some quick disclaimers on your screen right now. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for education purposes only as well. And here are some other disclaimers. Feel free to read them on your own time. Okay, so now the first question that we're going to ask today is, what party is more popular, the Republican or the Democrat? So we are going to use our old famous Uno cards. So Spirit Angels, tell me, for the Democratic Party, in terms of the popular vote, are they more popular than the Republicans, or are they more unpopular than the Republicans? As of right now, if the election was held today, how popular is the Democratic Party right now? Give me a number. Okay, they give me 2. How popular or unpopular are the Republican Party? Are they more popular than the Democrats, or are they more unpopular than the Democrats? Give me 2 cards. How do Republicans feel? Tell me, give me 2 cards. Okay, one more card. Are they more popular or are they more unpopular? Okay, well, let's see. So we have 73, 70. Oh, okay, so what we have here is a very clear distinction. So we have 73. So that means the Democrats are in the popular vote lead again, I think. We'll do the math in a moment. So we have 73. And then for the Republicans, we have 70. So regardless how you look at it, the Republicans are not far behind in terms of popularity. That the Democrats and the Republicans are almost neck and neck, which is very interesting to really see, but very alarming for the Democrats. If they really want to hold the House and the Senate, they need to be popular. And then popular, but then not as popular because they have more of a disadvantage at most gerrymandered districts during the 2022 midterm map is in favor of the Republican Party. The Republicans just need a maximum of 5% or less in order to win the House and the Senate. The Democrats, on the other hand, need at least 10% in terms of 10% in terms of popular vote or popular approval in order to actually have a shot at winning the House or holding the House and keeping the Senate. So that is very important. That's why it's very key here. So we are going to pull the screen up on your screen right now, because we're going to compilate this right into the data. So we are going to popular vote. Right, the last time we had it, we had 53 for the Republicans and 48 to the Democrats. I didn't realize until after I completed the video that I forgot to divide the total in half. So that is what we're going to do. So as you all know, we had the Democrats at 73 to the Republicans 70. So we are going to take that 3%. I'm going to divide that in half. And that will be the lead for either the Republicans or the Democrats. So if we take 3 divided by 2, that's 1.5. So in the end, what we have found is that 2.5. Okay, so the Republicans are still in the lead in terms of the popular vote, but they're not as popular as they were prior to last month. So it appears that Roe versus Wade only had an effect of only 1% in favor of the Democrats. That's not really a good sign, but nonetheless, it is moving in that direction. So, however, if it moves 1% in favor of the Democrats, next month they will be in the positive, or at least even. So, we have here 52. Okay. To the Democrats, 49. Right? Is that right? Yeah, because the Democrats had an increase of 1.5. And hold on, yeah. So they had an increase of 3%, which tells me, yeah, so they had an increase of 3%. Hold up. Yeah, so they had an increase of 3%. So if we take the data here from let's say, let's do the May, right? We have 59 to 42. If we take 59 minus 42, that's a 17 margin. You divide that by 2, that's 8.5. Okay, so they still have that added in. Oh, I see why I screwed up. Okay, so that data is correct. So I actually have to add 3% to the Democrats. So the Democrats last month, in the month of June, was 48. So 48 plus 3, that's 51. So the Democrats are actually in the lead in terms of popular. Oops. Sorry, guys. Yep, okay. And the Democrats, the Republicans are down 49. So they're down to 49. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Well, that's not what I really thought because I didn't do the math right. But anyway, besides the point. Okay. Now we know the Democrats are back in the lead again. So this is a good sign for the Democrats that they're in the lead, but not really by a big margin like I really anticipated. But nonetheless, they're back in the lead. We are looking at right now. So the Republicans are still ahead because they were ahead by 2.5%. Even though the Democrats are ahead by 51 to 49, I will still have to get that total amount to the Republicans, regardless whether or not they're in the lead overall, because they are in the popular, they're 51 to 49. However, the Republicans did indeed have a 2.5% last month prior. So I will have to knock that down to 1.5, which will equate to 1% increase for the Republicans. So I'm going to have to keep it as it is, even though the Democrats are in the lead. Okay. And if I decide to change my mind, you'll find out in the next video. Okay. Let's do the next question. Okay. Who will win the 2022 Senate map? Now, I will be doing probably starting in September when all the primary is officially over for all the parties, for the Democrats and the Republicans. We'll be taking a look at all 10, 11 most competitive Senate races and kind of really see what way they're going to go, like a quick 1 minute per race, just to kind of get an overall view and kind of see what way it's going to go, and not have the tarot cards directly give me a number, but instead I start doing the actual races themselves. Okay, so Spirit Angel, tell me who will win the 2022 Senate? The Democrats or the Republicans? This is the Democrats, Spirit. Give me one number. Okay. And how about the Republican? Will they win the United States Senate in 2022? Now, please keep in mind that there is indeed a solar cliff, two of them, back to back. And what that tells me is that we're not really going to know what way the Senate goes until the day of. And that is particularly because it's supposed to be mass. So take this with a grain of salt, okay? So as of right now, we have a +2 for the Democrats, but we have an 8. So we have a 6. So 60, the Republican had a 60% shot at taking the Senate to the Democrats' 40%. And that is what I am seeing, that the Democrats had a 40% chance of holding the Senate, where the Republicans have a 60% chance of flipping the Senate. So, now that we know that, we are going to take this card. Now, if this card says otherwise, we're going to honor it and just say whatever party it suggests. But that is, as of right now, we have a 60%. But that doesn't give us the outright winner. It just says out of 100 scenarios, 60% of those scenarios are Republican winning, whereas 40% of those scenarios are Democrats winning. So it's not a clear winner or victor. It's just telling us the percentage of winning probabilities. Okay, so Spirit and Angels, tell me who will win the 2022 Senate and by how much? Who will win the United States U.S. Senate and by how much? So we have loser president, a primary challenge. Okay. I feel like this might be related to like the Republican, but also Biden. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Former president, so there's something going on with Trump here. Okay, Republican president. Okay, what's going on? Something's happening. Something's getting messed up here in the storyline going into the midterm. I almost feel like there's some sort of change and it has to involve Donald Trump. Who will win the United States 2022 Senate? Map, Spirit. Who will win if the election was held today and by how much? Who wins the U.S. Senate and by how much? My God, why is it so hard to shuffle today? It's normally never this hard to use these cards. Ugh. Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. Who will win the United States Senate, Spirits and Angels? Come on. Come on, give it to me. If the election was held today, who will win? Okay, so we have the Democrats lose. Okay, so I asked who was going to win, and Lily gave me an answer. Okay, so we have here 61-39. Oh, that's a big margin. I don't know why, though, because... Oh, okay, so you remember when I told you in order for most Democrats, in order to actually have a shot at winning the Senate and the House, they need at least a 10% in terms of popular vote margin in order to at least have a chance at winning. Well, the Democrats, as the last off in the last question, was only increased by 1.5%, even with the movement and the overturning of Roe versus Wade. So it doesn't seem to be in favor of the Democrats, as the Republicans are still in ahead, and even though the actual data comes out to 51-49 for the Democrats, doesn't really make sense, but I still have to honor that. So it's still in favor of the Republicans. So they actually have an 11-point margin for the Republicans, which will make a lot of sense how they get a 61. So that is possible with a 11-point lead over the Democrats. Okay. And by saying 11-point lead, I'm talking about like the probability of them winning. Okay. All right, so, that's a big margin for the Senate. Okay, so we have the Republicans in the lead for the Senate. So we know the Republicans are going to win. The same thing with the Uno cards. The Uno cards set it too. I got to put this on flatter surfaces. Okay, so let's go through the storyline here. What's happening? So we have primary challenge. I see a lot of Republicans having primary challenges, including Joe Biden. So I would not be surprised if Joe Biden gets challenged in the primary, including some Democrats. So we have here faith, worship, and God. That is very key here. I feel like people are bringing in their church. The separation of church and state is starting to disappear. And the idea of combining church and state together is starting to become more mainstream. That is what I am seeing here. What I also see here as well is corralling freedom. Look, if you look here, it's a corralling freedom. When you have faith, you limit your ability to actually live a life that you're supposed to be living. Now, as for the third card here, we have the former U.S. president. And in this case, the former president is Donald Trump. Right? So Donald Trump is going to play a major key and a major role in the U.S. Senate results. We have here a Republican president. And I don't know why that is. Why is it? Is it maybe that he announced that he's running? So whatever it is, there is some sort of effect here. And it has to do with Donald Trump. Maybe potentially the possibility of Ron DeSantis playing with the idea, toying with the idea. But whatever it is, it could also be a senator. Whoever wins in the U.S. Senate in 2022 might be setting themselves up to run for president in the Republican primary against Donald Trump in 2024. So that is also another possibility. Now, we also have here the Democrats losing, right? We do have that here, right? So now we know the Democrats are losing, and we do have the faith card. So I would not be surprised, again, that this is all about faith, combining church and state as one entity. That is a very dangerous combination, especially in a democracy. So, well, it's not really a democracy, but regardless. So we have here 61 to 39 U.S. Senate. We have a 56 to 44 Senate. Then we also have as well, we have a 51 to 49. All of these cards are an outright victory for the Republican. In order for the Republican to actually have an outright majority in the U.S. Senate, they need 51 Senate seats in order to have an outright majority. So that is how they need in order to win. They need 51 Senate seats in order to have the majority. And that is what I am seeing in this deck. So what we are going to do now is we are going to take in the 61 plus 56 plus 51, add those three together and divide that by 3, and that would be our average. And we will enter that into the data now. That will show you on your screen. Okay. So the last time we had Democrats at 54 to the Republicans 43. We're going to see what the margin looks like today. So we're going to do 61 plus 56 plus 51. That is 168 divided by 3. And the total average is 56. So in favor of the Republicans, for the first time that we have ever seen, we're going to put them back up at 56. The last time they had that margin was back in March. And that was with when that was 30 days, well, almost less than 30 days after Vladimir Putin declared war in Ukraine and started to invade. So that is what I'm saying. Now, as for the Democrats, though, how are they going to do in terms of averages? So 39 plus 44 plus 49, that is 132, and then you will divide that by 3, and that will be 44. Yep. So the Democrats will be at 44 seats. So the last time the Democrats been there is also March. So we're going to copy and paste this, and this should be the first time we have a Republican winning again since April of 2022. So we have a Republican victory once again in the U.S. Senate. Okay, we are now going to do the same process for the House of Representatives. So who will win the United States House of Representatives? Now, we do remember that the probability of the Republicans winning are quite high. However, I will be doing a video on my midterm in terms of my dream and vision and challenge that I got. I haven't released them publicly unless you follow my Facebook account or my Facebook group where I did post them. So if you are interested in getting VIP content early, I do post them there as proof that I did get them. So you can check out my Facebook group. You can find it in the description below if you are interested. Anyway, let's begin. Okay, so who will win the 2022 House of Representatives, Spears and Angel? Who will win the United States House of Representatives? The Democrats or the Republicans? And by how much? If the election was held today, who will win the House of Representatives? They need 218 to have the majority in the U.S. House. Okay. Okay, Thomas, Spears and Angel. Okay. We're going to take this out, but we're going to leave this here. We have women's rights. Okay, so interesting. So we have pro-choice, women's rights, sexism, wealth gap. Right? We have women's right here, abortion rights, right? Okay, what else? What else, Spears and Angel? Tell me. By how big of a margin would the Democrats or the Republicans win? Okay, we have popular leader. I don't know about Biden being popular, but oh, it's not right now. Who's supposed to be popular? Who's supposed to be considered a new FDR? But we'll see. He has 4 more years to do it. Okay, Spears and Angel coming. Okay, so 50-50 Senate. Interesting. We have propaganda. We have entertainment industry. We have landslide. Okay, you know how I told you FDR? I did mention FDR in the landslide card came out in 1936. Okay. Thomas, Spears and Angel. But how big of a margin will the Democrats or the Republicans win by in the House of Representatives? They need 218 to have control. Who will win the U.S. House of Representatives if the election was held today? Come on, guys. Come on. I need cards. 1, 2, 3. Whatever the card come up, I'm just taking it from the top. Okay, we have young adult voters. We're just going to grab now because they don't seem to be giving me anything. Okay, nope. Minimum wage. Winner unknown. We have trade deal. Congress decides. Removed from power. Supreme Court. So we have the Supreme Court decision. We have the Statue of Liberty reversed. Founding Fathers. What it means to be an American. We have here Texas. Immigration. The polls are right. So whatever the polls are is going to be correct. Disability rights. Okay, the first one we have up here is electoral margin. 200 to 217. We don't have a victory yet, so we don't know who's going to win. So whoever is in the lead. Here we do have the Republican president. So maybe we might have a Republican president. I did say that before. I did see a Republican president after Biden, but before the 2024 election. So it's possible it's Kevin McCarthy. Okay, so we have here the Democrats hold. It's the flip. The Democrats are flipped. So it goes to the Republicans. Yeah. Because we have here the electoral margin, 270 to 300 House of Representative seats. We have here the Republicans lose. That's reversed. And the Democrats lose. So it is confirming. So now we know that the Democrats are losing the House. And once again, continue the trend of Republican victory in the U.S. House. So it almost looks certain as if the United States House of Representatives is going to go to the Republicans. Regardless if the Democrats are able to be projected as the winners in August, September, October, and November. It looks as already, because it's been a continuing trend, it had more time to be a Republican trend than a Democratic trend, but it's likely than not that the Republicans win the House and the Democrats hold the Senate. It's possible that we have a scenario like that. We have martial law, but it's reversed, so it has to do something with police. And the last card that we're going to take here is 217 to 333 seats. So, and we also have vice president here. So we have Kamala Harris. But anyway, besides the point, let's do the average. Same process like last time. So we're going to add them all up. Okay, we're going to go to the House of Representatives here. Okay, so now we have for the Republicans here, we have 217, 315 to 233. So we're going to add those all up, and then we're going to divide that by 4. No, actually, but divide that by 3. Excuse me. Okay. 217 plus 315 plus 233. That's 765. We're going to divide that by 3, and that's 255 House of Representatives seats. That's a big margin right there. Oh my God. Okay, you're gonna see me put that in. 255. Okay, that's a big margin. But it's pretty common based on what we see in terms of the numbers for the House. Okay, anyways, for the Democrats, we have 200 plus 270 plus 217. That's 687. We're going to divide that by 3. For the Democrats here, it's at 229. That is still over the majority, so you can kind of see here it is flipping back and forth, but you kind of see already that both the Democrats and the Republicans both have a very similar margin. So the projected net, added this likelihood the Republicans have a higher chance of maintaining the House than the Democrats, even though both are in the majority. So we're going to project with all the information in, we are going to project a Republican victory, again continuing the trend in the House. So the question is, who will win come October when we add up all the information, all the data, and I give you the final result on who I think will be the next winner in both the Senate and the House. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know any sort of video ideas in the comment section below. It will be really helpful. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.